them that will allow them to do a better job in taking care of these dependent children. And we have worked with various aspects of correction with the State Department of Correction, and we have worked also with the Davidson County Sheriff's Office, where we have a parenting program in place now with the Sheriff's Office, and of the past we dealt with parenting and job readiness training with the State Department of Correction. So what we do is to advocate strengthening the family arrangement where inmates can have a better relationship with their children and can parent from a distance. We know that many inmates come into the city from far corners of the state, and so their children are unable to visit with them, but they can keep in contact with their children and really keep abreast of what the children are doing with their lives. We have a nutrition education program for which we received a little better than $250,000 funding for, to really enhance the awareness of individuals where they would change their behavior, where they would eat more healthy and will purchase their foods and be more aware of what is involved when they go to do their shopping at the supermarket.
Now, so all of these are part of Family Life, the extension program, and you actually carry this program out into the communities. This is not a program that you invite folks in to, for the most part, but you are actually out in the community, meeting the parents and et cetera. What are some of the things that you might be able to tell us? And I'm almost sure that we're making preparation for our first commercial break. But with your background dealing with the elderly and grandparents, what are some of the things that you might be able to say are some of them probably the least understood or perhaps the least known aspects of parenting as a grandparent and that kind of information?
Well, one of the things that I would like to convey is the fact that there are many grandparents who are raising grandchildren who are caught up in what they call, quote unquote, the sandwich generation. And that is, these grandparents, many of them have their own dependent children they are trying to raise, and then they also have their grandchildren they're involved with, and they have aging family members they are trying to take care of. So there's a lot of stress and strain emotionally, physically, and financially upon these individuals who are involved. But one of the things that we want to express and let the public know is that we encourage forming support groups to come together where people who are in similar situations can come together and discuss the problems and how these problems can well best be addressed. And so this is in part, as I mentioned, the problems that they are experiencing, how to be able to cope and to tap on the resources that are available to them.
Yes, I think in a real sense, these are some of the things that we rarely think about when we think about grandparents and et cetera. We simply assume that all the resources are available. But what you're saying is that these are some individuals that in many instances might be struggling themselves in order to, quote, make ends meet, and then they've got the responsibility of other individuals that I never thought about that you're mentioning here, about their own dependent children, and they are watching the grandchildren of their own dependent children, and then they've got other individuals. So it's a real problem for these individuals.
It is a real problem, and as I mentioned, many are in financial, straits, and what some of the grandparents are having to do, some have come out of their jobs on retirement, and they're having to return to work because they need to make ends meet to take care of extra people who are now a part of their household, who initially were not a part of the household prior to their retirement.
Very good. And of course, Dr. Hunter, we're getting ready for our first commercial break. And after which we'll come back and we'll give you an opportunity to talk about, say something else about your grandparent program, as well as some of the other activities and some of the other programs that you're involved in at Tennessee State University. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. topic is family life.